And welcome back to another daily devotion. I'm Pastor Roy here at Woodlawn Christian Church in Lake City, Iowa, and this devotion is for Thursday, February 9th of 2023. We are in the 16th chapter of the book of Romans. We've been working our way through Romans, and we've made it to the final chapter. Today we're going to deal with the first 16 verses only of chapter 16. It's a little different. Paul's changed gears here. And I will apologize for slaughtering some of these names. This is a lot of names that we've got in here. Predominantly Greek names, but we do have at least one Hebrew name because we have Mary in here listed. And the thing to note is not just my terrible pronunciation of these names. I would go to BibleGateway.com if you want to hear the proper pronunciations. If you go to the NIV translation, you have an option there to listen to it read, and you can listen to it read and hear the proper pronunciations, which I did earlier today, but I will, as I'm reading them, I'm certain I will continue to butcher them no matter what I've done. That's just the way I am. All right. But notice the number of women's names that Paul lists here, and that is worth taking note of, given what some folks tend to want to think about Paul. So, without further ado, let's listen to the 16 verses, and again, I apologize for the names. I commend to you our sister Phoebe, a deaconess of the church at Caesarea, that you may receive her in the Lord as befits the saints, and help her in whatever she may require from you, for she has been a helper of many and of myself as well. Greet Prisca and Aquila, my fellow workers in Christ Jesus, who risked their necks for my life, to whom not only I, but also all the churches of the Gentiles give thanks. Greet also the church in their house. Greet my beloved Appentus, who was the first convert in Asia for Christ. Greet Mary, who has worked hard among you. Greet Andronicus and Judaeus, my kinsmen and my fellow prisoners. They are men of note among the apostles, and they were in Christ before me. Greet Amplia, my beloved in the Lord. Greet Urbanus, our fellow worker in Christ, and my beloved Stachys. Greet Apel, who has proved in Christ. Greet those who belong to the house of Aristobu. Greet my kinsman Herodian. Greet those in the Lord who belong to the family of Narcis. Greet those workers in the Lord, Tryphae and Trypho. Greet the beloved Persis, who has worked hard in the Lord. Greet Rufus, eminent in the Lord, also his mother and mine. Greet Stachys, Phlegon, Hermes, Patrobas, Hermas, and the brethren who are with them. Greet Philon, Julia, Narcis and his sister, and Olympus, and all the saints who are with them. Greet one another with a holy kiss. All the churches of Christ greet you. Oh my. 10 women named among that list of names. So Paul definitely is greeting them with a great deal, or is giving to them a great deal of import. And now Phoebe, it's interesting, it says deaconess there. That literally, when you go to the literal translation of that, or you go to the Greek in that, it means a servant, but it's the same name for servant, same word for servant as what was used in Acts, talking about those that were selected to wait on the widows, to feed the widows. So they're serving, they're ministering to the people. That's their job. Now, where it says helper there, she has been a helper of many. That word is also translated as leader, and a little bit, probably a better definition for that would be leader. She's not just a nobody in the church. She's one that has definitely been helping, working, leading her congregation. A deaconess of the church. And again, that word, we call deacons, they're really servants, okay? Here, in fact, we've changed the name from deacons here at Woodlawn. Years ago, they changed them to calling them servers when they serve communion and do the offering. But I digress. He goes on and talks about a number of different women. It's interesting when he has Andronicus and Juna, that he says after that, my kinsmen and my fellow prisoners, they are men. And in other translations, they don't have men there. And Junius is a female name. That's a woman. So that translation there is a little sketchy, I think, in my opinion. That perhaps this is the RSV, so you would think that they would not have done that. But in the literal translation, and you go to Young's literal translation, it doesn't say men there. Okay, it does not. It just says that they were his fellow prisoners and kinsmen, and that they were of note among the apostles. That would then elevate the Junius as being of note, of importance among the apostles. So we want to recognize the importance of women, not diminish the importance of women. Women are very important to ministry. I've not been in a church where I didn't realize that the women were perhaps the most, if not the most important part of the church. Certainly here, we have a lot of the ministry, a lot of the work is performed by the women. That's just part of the way that our society works. But it is also a fact that they provide great leadership, that we don't ever want to diminish that. The other thing I want to point out about this is that he's spending a great deal of time glad handing, if I will. He is congratulating his people. He's lifting them up. He's recognizing them. And that, even though we don't do what we do here, and I'm always one that is very much cognizant of not taking accolades. I don't ever feel that I should be lifted up. I don't like the title reverend for one reason, because that means to revere. Don't revere man, revere God. And I'm certainly not a silver-tongued person that is going to dazzle you with my speech, so I can't talk. But nonetheless, it's important that we recognize those that are doing the work. And so we always do want to thank people for their contribution to the cause, thank them for doing what they do for Christ. So that is an important part of this, and we take that away. So that really, to me, is the two things that we take from this. Paul feels it's important to recognize people for their efforts, and he recognized the importance of the women. Never let people convince you that Paul was diminishing women and their ability. Women are an integral part of the Christian movement and have been so since the very beginning. So with that, tomorrow we will finish chapter 16. Have a very blessed day, and please, please, please be a blessing to someone today. If you enjoy these devotions, please do like and subscribe. We'd love to have you back again. All right, with that, take care. God bless you all.